I used to think mornings were manageable, even when they weren't. The alarm buzzed at 6:15, like always, like it had every weekday for the last 8 years. My husband snored softly beside me, arm flung over his pillow defensively, like the day was already attacking him. I rolled out of bed with a sigh, the kind that doesn't mean tiredness, but quiet surrender. I padded to the kitchen in socks, because the tile was cold in July. The coffee machine grunted too. Life. My fingers moved out of habit, scooping grounds, pouring water, pressing buttons, not thinking, just doing. The dog blinked at me from his bed, unimpressed by the routine I kept. Then came the sound that always follows. The slow creak of a bedroom door, tiny footsteps, light but hesitant, as if walking on someone else's life. My daughter, Emma, stood in the hallway, her oversized hoodie grazing her knees, one sleeve pulled over her thumb. "Don't make me go," she whispered, not dramatic, not even desperate, just final. I turned. "Sweetheart, school's in 3 days," I said, walking over, placing my hand gently on her shoulder, already warm with dread. "It's just day camp today. Painting, snacks, sprinklers. You love painting." She didn't move. She didn't blink. Her eyes were glassy, not with tears, but with something more dangerous, fear. "Please," she said again, voice tight, like it was wound too tight to bend. I squatted down in front of her, my heart starting to pace without permission. "Emma," I said softly, "what's wrong? Did someone say something yesterday?" No answer, just a shake of her head, like truth had weight, and saying it might make the ceiling fall. That's when the first alarm went off in me. Not the mom alarm, the human one, the one that whispers when something's wrong, even when everything looks fine. But I didn't push, not yet, just offered pancakes instead, and hoped that sugar might loosen something. She ate 2 bites, then drifted off, standing near the door like a shadow. "Let's stay home," she said again, barely audible. "Can we just stay home?" I almost said no, the responsible answer. The let's not be dramatic version of love, but something in the way she twisted her fingers, over and over, told me not to. "Okay," I said finally, "just today." She nodded once, sat down on the couch, pulled a blanket over her knees, and stared. I called the camp to excuse her absence, mumbled something about a cough, even though I hated lying. I went back to my coffee, but it tasted like guilt. Now, I didn't know what I was looking for, but I started watching her more closely. When she went to the bathroom, I counted how long she stayed. When she came back, I watched how her shoulders moved, how her eyes darted away from mine. 3 hours in, she finally relaxed, sitting cross-legged with a sketchbook in her lap. I walked past once and glanced down, saw swirls of black and gray ink, no color. Her usual rainbows were gone. "That's nice," I said gently. "Stormy," she replied without looking up. I nodded, swallowed the knot in my throat. That night, when she finally fell asleep, I sat on the edge of my bed, phone in hand, unsure what to search. Child anxiety, day camp, bullying, silent trauma signs. Every article led me in circles. Then I remembered something, the old purple notebook, the one she carried everywhere since spring. She called it her private journal, never let anyone read it, not even her best friend, Ava. Normally, I would never. But that night wasn't normal. I tiptoed into her room, heart thudding, like I was about to break something sacred. The journal was under her pillow, as always. I slid it out carefully, felt its weight like it had secrets, just waiting to tip the room over. I sat in the hallway, light dimmed, knees pulled up, breath shallow. Page 1 was doodles. But page 3, that's where everything changed. The diary pages shook in, my trembling hands, smudging the ink, where Emma's tears must have fallen. I read, each word like it was a scream, pressed into paper. She told me not to tell Mom, said it would ruin everything. She smiled, like nothing happened, but her eyes, they weren't smiling. That line looped in my head for hours. It became the soundtrack to my rage and my horror. Emma hadn't been scared of school. She was terrified of someone. Under our own roof, I stood in the kitchen, diary open, coffee cold, untouched. My mind was racing, trying to deny the obvious. Claire, my sister, the one I trusted with everything, the one who babysat Emma every Saturday while I worked overtime. I didn't want it to be true. My hands clutched the diary like it could answer the storm inside. I called Emma, told her she was staying home from school that day. No excuses, no explaining. She just said, okay, in the smallest voice. That okay broke me more than any confession could. I couldn't ask her directly yet. Not while her shoulders still flinched when doors shut too loud. Not while she barely looked me in the eye. So I did what any mother running on adrenaline and fury would do. I drove to my parents' house. Claire was there, sitting with my mom, sipping tea like nothing about her was rotting from the inside. Hey Sarah, she smiled. You look tired. Tired? No. I looked like a mother who had just realized her sister was the reason her daughter cried in her sleep. Can I talk to Claire? Alone? I asked. Mom blinked. Everything okay? Just need 5 minutes. Claire followed me into the hallway. Is this about the job thing? I know Mom told you to. Shut up. That silenced her. I hadn't raised my voice like that since we were kids. I pulled out the diary, folded pages, marked by red hearts Emma had once doodled. I didn't open it. I didn't have to. What the hell did you do? Claire's smile dropped, like a mask, sliding off someone who didn't need it anymore. You shouldn't read a child's diary, she said. Not denial, not confusion, not shock, just a warning. That's when I knew. Get out, I whispered. This is Mom's. Get out. She left. Not another word, just gathered her coat, her purse, and left. My mother came to the door. What happened? Sarah, I looked her dead in the eye. How long have you known? Silence. That's when my stomach turned. It wasn't just Emma, was it? I asked. My mom didn't answer. She didn't deny it. That was worse. I walked out, shaking. My childhood replayed like a film with new captions. Claire's door, always locked. My sudden fevers, the babysitters, quitting. How many clues had I erased for the sake of peace? Emma met me at the door when I got home. Did you talk to her? I knelt down, heart barely beating. You don't have to go back there again, ever. Her arms wrapped around me like she'd been holding her breath for years. That night, I slept on the floor beside her bed. She didn't have nightmares. I did. By morning, I'd made appointments. Lawyer, therapist, police. The system isn't built for justice when monsters wear Sunday dresses. But I was going to burn it down anyway. Emma drew pictures while I talked to detectives. I gave them every page, every line, every shiver. You need evidence, they said. Testimony, proof beyond emotional distress. So I set a trap, invited Claire to Emma's birthday. Microphones hidden, cameras ready. My hands trembled, but Emma was brave. Aunt Claire, she said, I don't want to play with you anymore. Claire laughed. Why not? Because you hurt me. Claire's face changed like a storm cloud, realizing the sky was recording. She stood. This is ridiculous. No, I said, from behind her. This is evidence. She was arrested. My mother didn't speak to me for weeks, then months. Emma's diary went into a safe. Her new one is full of sunflowers and affirmations. Therapy is slow, but it's ours. We planted tomatoes this spring. She laughs now. I don't tell her I still check the locks 4 times a night, or that I sleep with her baby monitor beside me, even though she's 10. Healing isn't linear, but truth it never stays buried. I didn't sleep at all that night after child services left, and neither did Emily, curled up beside me like she used to when she was 3 years old and afraid of thunderstorms. I kept brushing her hair, slowly, gently, like I was untangling memories, ones I didn't even realize were tangled in the first place. The smell of her shampoo, familiar, safe, almost made me cry. Every word in that diary kept ringing in my ears, words like trapped, scared, wrong touches, and Andy's face when she lies. My own sister, the same one who braided Emily's hair weekly. The betrayal was so monstrous, so deeply embedded in our family, that even thinking about it felt like digging through poison, and yet I knew I couldn't look away anymore. Emily finally slept around dawn, and I went downstairs quietly. My phone was buzzing non-stop, texts from my parents, voicemails too. but I didn't respond to a single one. Not yet. Instead, I called someone else, Detective Lisa Harding, who had been on the case before. When things didn't stick legally, she picked up after 2 rings, voice tired but firm. Sarah, yes, I said. It's back. You're ready this time? She asked. I have her diary, I whispered, and I have Emily. She's ready to talk. By a.m., the house was swarming with quiet officials, not loud like before, but methodical, respectful, more focused now. They took photos, notes, statements, all while Emily stayed upstairs. Lisa read the diary slowly, glancing at me now and then. At one point she closed it and sighed hard. This will hold in court, she said. This time it won't be ignored. I nodded, tears brimming again. But this time, they weren't just of sadness. They were laced with fierce relief, with something sharp and justified anger, not the blind kind. The kind that fuels mothers to protect, fight, and never look away again. The family fallout. By the time my parents arrived, I had already given statements, signed releases, and let them search Kayla's room upstairs. They looked confused, angry even. My mother cried, "How could you do this to your sister?" I didn't answer at first. I just showed them the diary. My dad read it silently. He didn't speak afterward. He just sat down slowly, like his whole spine gave up. We didn't know, Mom whispered. But I told you, I snapped. I begged you to believe me the first time. You told me not to destroy family over a misunderstanding. She covered her mouth and turned away. I didn't feel sorry. I didn't need to. The court battle begins. It took weeks, but Kayla was arrested, charged, and denied bail. She cried in court, of course, called it all lies, manipulation, claimed Emily had emotional problems, but the judge listened carefully. Emily's therapist testified. So did Lisa. And I stood up as the final witness, voice shaking, knees locked, hands clenched tightly. I'm not just her mother, I said. I'm her voice, and I won't let that voice be drowned again. The courtroom was still. People were crying, even the stenographer. When the judge delivered the verdict, guilty on all counts, Emily reached for my hand. I held hers tighter than ever before. Justice didn't undo what happened, but it gave her room to breathe, to grow, to start again, knowing someone believed her loud enough to fight. The final letter. 2 months later, I received a letter from Kayla in jail. I didn't open it for days. When I did, I read only one line. I was hurting and I didn't know how to stop. I folded it carefully, placed it in Emily's old showbox, the one she'd turned into a memory box. Then I locked the box, taped it shut, and put it away. She didn't need to read that. Not now. Maybe not ever. Some truths were better left in silence. Healing is not linear. Emily goes to a different school now. She started painting, again, bright, chaotic colors like her. Emotions are finally safe outside. We have therapy twice weekly. Sometimes, she asks questions I can't answer, like why her, and will you ever forgive her? I tell her this. You are not responsible for other people's monsters. You are only responsible for your light, and you, my darling, glow. We're healing slowly, together, and every night before bed, I whisper, you never have to go anywhere you don't feel safe ever again. She nods, eyes bright with that unspoken bond we now share, the one that was tested but never broken, because now I see everything. Now I believe. Now I protect.